Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I would like to tell you about my experience in the Boy Scouts. And this is an odd one for me because for the most part I tend to forget that I was ever in the Boy Scouts despite the fact that I was a part of it for years. And I remember I was first put into it when I was allowed to, like I think it was like first grade when you're first allowed to be put into them. And I'm I think we were like cub tigers when we started out. Like they just pick an animal of some kind, and then they just have us progress up, like with each passing grade. It was either fifth grade or sixth grade when they finally had us be like official scouts. But it was like, yeah, you're Cub Scouts up to a certain point, then you become like an official scout, and then you keep going up the ranks. And really, the idea behind being a scout is just the same as you'd imagine it to be. It's like a lot of emphasis on camping trips, being in forests, doing a lot of different types of activities, yeah, all that kind of stuff. I know for a fact that I was put into it by my parents because I cannot remember like seeing it on my own and then just gaining interest for it. And if I did, then it was like a long time ago. Or maybe my parents like asked me if I wanted to be part of this and I was like, whatever, I'll do it. And the biggest problem I really had when I was in the Cub Scouts is that, or Scouts in general, is that I never really had like the huge amount of passion and interest to be in it. I mean, it wasn't a particularly bad experience, but I don't really remember it all that much in my modern day. I mostly just forget it, which is kind of strange. It's like it's not even a bad memory I had, so I don't know why it doesn't really have a significance. I remember exactly where it stopped, though. I remember I was on my way of becoming a tenderfoot, which I can't really remember what that is. It's just the rank above, like, once you become a scout, the next level is tenderfoot. And the way that it worked is that instead of accomplishing, like, you move from one school grade to another, like it's age-based, you have to accomplish a list of different assignments. And I did them all. The last thing to do was to complete a board review where I would meet with all of the leaders and they would talk to me, like interview me, like saying like, am I ready to be a tenderfoot and move on? And they accepted me. But I quit shortly after that. And I know why, because I wasn't interested in it anymore. I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. I remember it was like every summer I know I had to have done something related to Boy Scouts. I was sent on some type of trip. I think the way it worked is that I hated it at first, but then I would slowly get into like it, I guess. I think it was like my favorite thing to do was shooting a BB gun because I was particularly good at it. So, I. So, what can I say about kids joining the Scouts thing? Well, I don't know anything about how it works outside of America or outside of the Boy Scouts in general. I'm no expert, but it is. There are a lot of people you can meet. Like, I know for a fact that I met a lot of people when I was in the Boy Scouts. But I'm not friends with any of them anymore. It was like we've all like moved on, like done our separate ways. So I think I can remember a few of their names. But it's like there's a lot of emphasis on it was like bonding, whereas like you're all friends, and there's a lot of activities they do, a lot of trips they do. So if you can get your kid into it, that'd probably be a good idea, I suppose. I just know that personally I wasn't really into it, and it also takes up a lot of your time because I remember I think it was like a weekly Monday night meeting, I believe what was when I finally became an official scout, and I think that I was just kind of getting tired of it. Maybe it was like cutting into my ability to work on homework. I think it was probably a blessing that I finally had like the entire Monday to work on stuff. So the one thing I probably would have missed is certain aspects of the trips that we went on because there were some things I did like, but at the same time, there were other things too. One sad thing is that I remember one night where it was a summer night. It was the first night on this trip. I was packed pajamas, but I did not even need them, and I should not have been wearing them. I was really hot, and for some reason I would not stop wearing them. And I was probably in a situation where I felt like I was inclined to wear them because no one told me. It was like my parents did not properly tell me that it was okay to not wear heavy pajamas or something. Or maybe I was just not thinking at the time. Actually, my parents is like they're really weird, crazy ideas for what sleeping arrangement should be. That deserves to be an entirely different video. And what else can I say? Well, I guess I could tell you about one thing I did that was in the Scouts that was a particularly stupid thing to me to do. One time we were in a creek, and I know, like it was Scouts and their parents, and my dad was amongst one of the parents. We were going through a creek, and at one point we came across where it was finally like the end of the creek. Like there were no more rocks to go around. There was just a lot of water. But I saw on the side of this creek there were a bunch of rocks and I started climbing on the side of them, and like everyone wanted me to come back, and it was like who could come out to get me. But then one of the rock I was standing on broke off, and I was hanging because I was holding on the roots. If I would have let go, I would have really been hurt because I was like 10 feet off the ground. But there was like water below me, but still, it's not enough water to break my fall. And it would have like hit the bottom. Would have been bad. But I remember I was pulled out of the creek. So that was probably the best memorable experience just because of how dumb of an idea it was at the time. I can't remember how old I was though. I'm also not sure if this was Cub Scout related, but I was a part of something called Pinewood Derby, but that was obviously like my dad was better at building those cars any better than I was. I mean, if only the kids were allowed to work on these things, then it would have a completely different turnout compared to when their dads or whatever type of guardian would be involved with them. But I don't think that might have been a Boy Scout related thing. I think that was its own independent thing I was a part of. And that's another thing I don't think about. Like, I was a part of Pinewood Derby when I was a kid. So, yeah, it's the Boy Scouts. Strange that I always forget about it. It's like a part of my life that I just never ever think about. I never have fond memories of it, but I never have particularly bad memories of it either. It's just something that happened, despite it being like 5 years of my life, maybe more, maybe less. I think it was up to like 7th grade that I did it. It's just something that I don't even acknowledge anymore. I mean, not even my parents acknowledge it. And my sister was a part of the Girl Scouts, but I know even less about the Girl Scouts than I do about the Boy Scouts, and I know that the way that they do it is very, very different. And I don't even know how far my brother got in the Boy Scouts, if he even got anywhere. I have no idea. I'd have to ask him. But I know that he probably liked it less because he didn't even get as far as I did. Actually, I'm not even sure if he joined it. I'm not sure if, like, did he say no? I really don't. But there are some things that you do in your life that they lose significance in your mind. And this will always be the best example of that, to where Boy Scouts can really be like one of the most memorable things that you do when you're a kid. But it never was for me. And it's just something that faded away. And I can't even remember most of the stuff I did when I was in it. Being a kid that was never really athletic or very technical with certain types of things that they do there, it's just something that just like it happened and now it's just gone. It's just gone. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Goodbye, everyone.